The ship floated in the darkness of space like a dead whale in a black ocean. It made no sound. It sent no signals. For 3 days, it had drifted alone in the empty region called the Kepler Expanse. Then the salvage ship Iron Mule found it. Una was in the engine room when the alarm went off. She wiped the grease from her hands and walked to the bridge. The rest of the crew was already there, staring at the main screen. "What is it?" she asked. Captain Dahan pointed at the image. A large cargo ship hung in space about 2 kilometers away. The name on its side read Pale Horizon. "Emergency beacon," Dahan said. "But it's weak. Like the ship is barely alive." Una studied the image carefully. She had worked on ships for 15 years. She knew every type of vessel that flew through this part of space. Something about this one felt wrong. "It looks fine," said Myra, the navigator. She was a thin woman with sharp eyes and a quick mind. "No damage. No burn marks. Why would they send a distress signal?" "Maybe the crew got sick," suggested Taiwo, the medic. He was a nervous man who believed in bad luck and evil spirits. "Could be a plague ship." "Only one way to find out," said Yunji. She was the security officer, tall and strong, with a rifle always close to her hand. "We go look." Dahan nodded slowly. "Standard salvage rules. We check for survivors first. Then we see what we can take." Una grabbed her toolbox. Whatever was wrong with that ship, she would figure it out. The Iron Mule moved closer and connected to the Pale Horizon with a docking tube. The airlock opened with a hiss of cold air. Very cold air. Una could see her breath turn white in front of her face. "Life support is working," Taiwo said, checking his scanner. "Oxygen levels are normal. But the temperature..." Someone set it to freezing on purpose. They stepped inside. The first thing Una noticed was the silence. A ship this size should have noise. Engines humming. Machines working. People talking. But there was nothing. Just the sound of their own footsteps on the metal floor. The second thing she noticed was the frost. It covered the walls in strange patterns. Not random patches of ice, but shapes. Almost like writing. Almost like someone had drawn pictures with frozen water. "Hello?" Yunji called out. Her voice echoed down the empty hallway. "Anyone here? We got your distress signal. We're here to help." No answer. They moved through the ship slowly. Yunji went first with her rifle ready. Then Dahan, then Myra and Taiwo. Una walked at the back, looking at everything. The crew quarters told a strange story. Beds were unmade. Clothes hung in lockers. In the kitchen, they found food still sitting on plates, frozen solid. Someone had been eating dinner when they left. "They didn't take anything," Myra said quietly. "Their personal things are still here. Photos, books. Look, someone left a gold ring on this table." Taiwo picked up a piece of paper from the floor. It was a child's drawing. A stick figure family standing in front of a house. At the bottom, a child had written, "For Daddy, come home soon." 37 crew members, Dahan said, reading from a ship manifest he found on the wall. 37 people. Where did they go? Una was not listening. She had moved ahead to the engine room. Something had caught her attention. The engines looked normal. Big machines that burned fuel and pushed the ship through space. She had seen 100 engines like these. But there was something else. Something hidden. She knelt down on the floor near the main power unit. Her fingers traced along the metal, feeling for something she could not see. There, a tiny gap. A line so thin that most people would never notice it. "Captain," she called out. "Come look at this." Dahan and the others gathered around her. "What did you find?" he asked. Yuna pulled a small tool from her belt and slid it into the gap. She twisted it carefully. Something clicked. A section of the floor shifted. Then it slid open, showing a stairway leading down into darkness. "That's impossible," Myray said. "I looked at the blueprints for this ship. There's no lower level." "Then someone built one that wasn't on the blueprints," Una replied. Cold air rose from the opening, colder than the rest of the ship. And there was something else. A smell. Not bad, exactly. Just strange. Like electricity and flowers and something very, very old. Taiwu stepped back. "We should leave. Right now. This is wrong. This whole ship is wrong." "He's right," Yunji said. "This could be a trap. We should call for backup." Dohan looked at the dark opening for a long moment. Then he looked at Yuna. "What do you think?" Yuna stared down into the darkness. Every part of her brain told her to be careful, to be afraid. But another part of her, the part that had made her become a mechanic in the first place, wanted to know. Needed to know. "I think the crew of this ship found something down there," she said. "And whatever they found scared them so much that they ran away without taking anything, without even finishing their food." "That should scare us too," Taiwu said. "It does," Yuna admitted. "But it also makes me curious. What could scare 37 people that badly? And why is it still here, waiting in the dark?" She picked up her toolbox and started walking down the stairs. After a moment, the others followed. The stairs went down much farther than they should have. Yuna counted 50 steps, then 60, then stopped counting. By her math, they should have passed through the bottom of the ship and into empty space by now. But the stairs kept going. "This makes no sense," Myray whispered behind her. "The ship is not this big. We should have reached the hull already." Doan said nothing. His hand rested on the small gun at his belt. Finally, the stairs ended. They stood in a long hallway that stretched into the distance. The walls glowed with a soft blue light that came from thin strips running along the ceiling. The light pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. "What is this place?" Yunji asked. Yuna touched the wall. It was warm, even though the air was cold. The material looked like metal, but felt like something else. Something alive. "I've seen this before," she said quietly. "Not in person. In old files. Secret files from 30 years ago." "What files?" Doan demanded. "When I was young, I worked for a government repair station. One night, I found some documents I wasn't supposed to see. They talked about special ships. Ships that were used for experiments. The government said they destroyed all of them, but..." She looked around. "I think they lied." They walked down the hallway. The blue light followed them, getting brighter as they moved forward and dimmer behind them. Like the ship was watching. Like it wanted them to keep going. Then they found the first room. It was huge. The size of a warehouse. And it was filled with pods. Each pod was made of clear glass or something that looked like glass. Inside each one floated a body. The bodies were not human. They were tall and thin, with skin that shimmered like starlight. They had 2 arms and 2 legs, but their hands had too many fingers. Their faces had no noses, just smooth skin and large eyes that were closed in sleep. Blue liquid filled each pod, keeping the bodies floating. "What are they?" Taiwu's voice shook. "What are these things?" Yuna walked between the pods, counting. She stopped at 47. 47 sleeping aliens in this one room alone. And she could see doorways leading to other rooms. "They're alive," Taiwu said, checking his medical scanner. "Very slow heartbeat. Very slow breathing. But alive. Some kind of deep sleep. How long have they been here?" Myray asked. Yuna looked at the dust on the floor. At the age of the metal, at the strange writing on the walls that looked older than any human language. "A long time," she said. "A very long time." Yunji raised her rifle. "We should destroy them. Whatever they are, They can't be good. Hidden on a human ship. Sleeping in secret? This is an invasion waiting to happen. No. Yuna's voice was firm. We don't know what they are. We don't know why they're here. We don't kill things we don't understand. That's how people die in scary stories, Yunji replied. Then let's try not to be a scary story. Yuna moved deeper into the hidden level. The others followed because there was nothing else to do. Turning back felt impossible now. The hallway seemed to push them forward. She found the control room at the center of everything. It was circular, with a tall pillar in the middle that hummed with energy. Screens covered the walls, showing information in a language no human could read. Symbols and shapes danced across the displays, but on a small desk near the door, she found something she could read, a notebook. Paper and ink. Human handwriting. The crew of the Pale Horizon had found this place before them. They had written down what happened. Yuna opened the notebook and began to read out loud. Day 1. We found a hidden door in the engine room. Chief Engineer Suho went down first. He came back white as snow. Said we should never go down there again. But Captain gave orders. We all went to look. She turned the page. Day 15. We've been studying the pods. Dr. Hayami says the things inside are some kind of alien life. Very old. Maybe older than Earth. She thinks they're sleeping on purpose. Waiting for something. Another page. Day 42. The ship started acting strange. Doors open by themselves. The temperature drops at night. Some crew members say they hear voices in their dreams. Voices in a language they don't know, but somehow understand. Yuna's hands were shaking now, but she kept reading. Day 60. We tried to leave. The engines won't start. The ship won't let us go. It wants us to stay. It wants us to wake them up. The next several pages were torn out. Only the last entry remained. Final day. They're waking up. God help us. They're finally waking up. We tried everything to keep them asleep. We lowered the temperature. We cut the power to the pods. But the ship fixed itself. It always fixes itself. It's been waiting so long. Too long. It won't wait anymore. We're taking the escape pods. All of us. Maybe someone will find this ship. Maybe they'll understand what we could not. Maybe they'll be brave enough to stay. If you're reading this, I'm sorry. We were cowards. We ran from what we didn't understand. But maybe you're different. Maybe you can do what we couldn't. Just remember, they're not monsters. They're just old. Very, very old. And they've been sleeping for a very, very long time. Yuna closed the notebook dot behind her. She heard a new sound. The soft splash of liquid draining dot. She turned around. The pods were opening. The first alien stepped out of its pod like someone waking from a long, deep dream. Blue liquid dripped from its body onto the floor. It stood very still, its large eyes slowly opening. Those eyes held stars. Not a poetic idea, but real stars. When Yuna looked into them, she saw distant suns and spinning galaxies swimming in the darkness. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Yunji raised her rifle. Stay back. Don't move. The alien looked at her. Its face showed no fear. Only curiosity, like a scientist studying a small insect. Put the gun down, Yuna said quietly. Are you crazy? If they wanted to hurt us, we'd already be dead. Look around. There are dozens of them waking up. We can't fight them all. I don't think we need to. More pods opened. More aliens rose from the blue liquid. They moved slowly, stretching their long limbs, turning their heads to look at the humans in their hidden home. The first alien took a step toward Yuna, then another. It stopped just 2 meters away and opened its mouth. The sound that came out was not words. Not any language Yuna had ever heard. It was music and mathematics and something older than stone. It should have been impossible to understand, but somehow she did. "You are the one who found us," the alien said. "You are the one who opened the door." "I'm just a mechanic," Yuna replied. Her voice was steady, even though her heart was beating fast. "I fix things. I wasn't looking for you, but you stayed. The others ran. For many years, many others found this place. All of them ran. You stayed. I was curious." The alien made a sound. It might have been laughter. "Yes, curious. This is why we chose your kind." "Chose us? What do you mean?" More aliens gathered around now. They formed a circle, watching the conversation with those star-filled eyes. Yuna's crew stood close together, weapons ready but useless. "We are the Veil," the alien said. "Long ago, when your ancestors still lived in caves and feared the dark, we traveled the stars. We saw 1,000 worlds. We built 1,000 cities. We learned everything there was to learn. And then we grew tired." The alien walked slowly around the room. Its long fingers touched the walls gently, like greeting an old friend. When a species lives too long, it stops growing. It stops asking questions. It stops being curious. We saw this happening to ourselves. So we made a choice. Instead of dying slowly, we would sleep. We would scatter ourselves across the galaxy in hidden ships. And we would wait. Wait for what? For someone new. Someone young. Someone curious enough to find us and brave enough to stay. Yuna thought about what she had read in the notebook. The crew of the Pale Horizon had found this place. They had run away screaming. What happened to the others? She asked. The ones who ran? Nothing. We let them go. We always let them go. Running is not a crime. Fear is not a sin. But we could not give our gift to those who feared us. What gift? The alien called Ilum stepped closer. Yuna could feel warmth coming from its body, like standing near a gentle fire. We have slept for 10,000 of your years. In that time, your species grew from nothing into something wonderful. You built ships that fly between stars. You cured diseases that once killed millions. You made music and art and stories that touched the soul. But we also made wars, Yuna said. We hurt each other. We destroy things. Yes, you are young. Young species make mistakes. But you also learn from them. That is what makes you special. That is what makes you ready. Ready for what? Elam raised one long hand. Ready to receive what we built. Our knowledge. Our technology. Our understanding of the universe. Everything we learned in 10 million years of existence. We want to give it to you. Silence fell over the room. Even Yunji lowered her rifle. Dawn spoke first. Why? Why would you give something so valuable to strangers? Because we are dying, Ilum said simply. Not today. Not tomorrow. But soon. Our bodies have slept too long. Even we cannot live forever. And if we die with our knowledge locked inside us, it dies too. That would be the greatest waste in the history of the universe. So you need us, Yuna said slowly. You need someone to carry on what you started. Yes, we planted seeds on 1,000 worlds. Most of those seeds died. But humanity grew strong. You reached the stars. You found us. And when you found us, you did not run. Yuna looked at her crew. Tai Wu was pale and sweating. Moray's eyes were wide with amazement. Yunji still held her rifle, but her hands were shaking. Dohan watched everything with the careful eyes of a man who had seen many strange things in his life. What if we say no? Yuna asked. Ilum tilted its head. Then we will sleep again. We will wait for another 1,000 years. Perhaps another species will find us. Perhaps no one will. The choice is yours. That's a lot of pressure. It is. It is. But you came down those stairs alone. You opened the door when everyone else wanted to run. Something inside you already knows what you want to do. Yuna closed her eyes. She thought about her life. Fixing broken engines. Crawling through dirty ships. Solving problems that no one else could solve. She had always wanted something more. Something bigger. Now the universe was offering exactly that. Tell me more, she said. Tell me everything. Ilum smiled. At least, Yuna thought it was a smile. That will take some time. But we have time. For the first time in 10,000 years, we have time. Around them, the other veil began to move. They walked to control panels and touched buttons. Screens came alive with strange symbols. The ship hummed with new energy. The pale horizon was waking up. And so was something new in the universe. For 3 days, Yuna listened. The veil told her stories that stretched back to the beginning of time itself. They showed her images of worlds that no longer existed, stars that had burned out long ago, civilizations that had risen and fallen while Earth was still a ball of hot rock floating in space. She learned that the universe was much bigger than humans had imagined. Not just in size, but in history. Species had come and gone like seasons. Some had built empires that spanned 1,000,000 stars. Others had destroyed themselves before they ever left their home planets. We were one of the first, Ilum explained. They were sitting in the control room, surrounded by glowing screens. When we woke up to consciousness, the universe was still young. Fewer stars. Less light. But more possibility. What happened to the others? Yuna asked. The other ancient species? Most are gone now. Some died in wars. Some killed themselves by accident. Some simply grew tired of living and chose to end. Ilum's star-filled eyes looked sad. Consciousness is a gift, but it is also a burden. Knowing that you exist means knowing that you will someday stop existing. That knowledge drives some species mad. But not you? We came close. Many times. In the end, we decided that if we could not live forever, we could at least pass on what we learned. That is why we built the seed ships. That is why we slept. Meanwhile, the rest of Yuna's crew was adjusting to their strange situation. Dohan spent most of his time talking with other Veil, learning about their history and culture. His fear had slowly turned into fascination. Taiwu, the medic, was amazed by Veil biology. Their bodies could heal from almost any wound. Their blood was silver. Their hearts beat only once every minute. He filled notebook after notebook with observations. Myre worked with Veil scientists on mathematics. Human math, she discovered, was like a child's drawing compared to what the Veil had developed. But the Veil were patient teachers, and Myre was a fast learner. Even Yunji had found her place. She trained with Veil warriors, learning combat techniques that humans had never imagined. The Veil did not believe in weapons, but they understood that the universe could be dangerous. Sometimes, fighting was necessary. On the 4th day, Ilum came to Yuna with a question. Are you ready? Ready for what? The transfer. We have shown you our history. We have answered your questions. The words can only teach so much. If you truly want to understand what we know, we must give it to you directly. Yuna felt her stomach tighten. What does that mean? Our knowledge exists as patterns, shapes of thought, information stored in ways that human language cannot describe. To receive it, you must open your mind. You must let us connect with you. Will it hurt? I do not know. No human has ever done this before. You will be the first. Yuna thought about saying no. She thought about all the reasons this was dangerous. What if the transfer broke her mind? What if she lost herself in an ocean of alien thought? But then she remembered why she became a mechanic in the first place. Because she loved understanding how things worked. Because she hated mysteries that stayed unsolved. Because giving up was never an option. "I'm ready," she said. ILUM led her to the central pillar in the control room. It pulsed with blue light, brighter than before. The other Veil gathered around, forming a circle. "Sit here," Ilum said, pointing to a spot on the floor. "Close your eyes. And trust us." Una sat down. She closed her eyes. She heard the Veil moving around her. Their footsteps soft on the metal floor. Then Ilum touched her forehead with one long finger, and the universe exploded inside her head. She saw everything. Star maps showing every corner of the galaxy. Engineering plans for machines that could build planets. Medical knowledge that could cure any disease. Recipes for food grown on worlds with 3 suns. Music composed by creatures who sang with their entire bodies. Poetry written in languages that humans would never speak. She saw the history of the Veil from their very first moment of awareness. She felt their joy when they first discovered fire. Their fear when they first faced death. Their wonder when they first reached the stars. She saw their mistakes too. Wars they had fought. Species they had destroyed by accident. Planets they had ruined with pollution. The Veil were not perfect. They had done terrible things during their long history, but they had learned. They had grown. They had become wise enough to know that true wisdom means admitting how much you still don't know. The flood of information went on for what felt like hours, days, centuries. Una lost track of time. She lost track of herself. She was floating in an ocean of knowledge, drowning and flying at the same time. Then, slowly, it stopped. The images faded. The thoughts settled. She opened her eyes. The world looked different. She could see the mathematics hidden in the walls. She could hear the electrical currents flowing through the ship. She could smell the chemical composition of the air. Her senses had expanded in ways she could not explain. "How do you feel?" Ilum asked. Una tried to speak. The words felt strange now. Too small. Too limited. She understood things that human language could not express. Finally, she managed to say, "Different. I feel different. You are different. You carry part of us inside you now. And part of you will always be with us." The other crew members were watching with wide eyes. "What did you see?" Myra asked. Una smiled. For the first time in her life, she truly understood how small humanity was, and how big they could become. "Everything," she said. "I saw everything. And now I want to share it with the rest of our species." Ilum nodded slowly. "That is exactly what we hoped you would say." 3 months later, the Iron Mule appeared in Earth's orbit. But it was not alone. The pale horizon flew beside it, no longer hiding its secrets. 17 Veil had chosen to come along. They wanted to see the world that had created such a curious, stubborn species. News of their arrival spread across the planet in minutes. Television stations interrupted every program. Radio channels played nothing but updates. The internet nearly crashed from all the people trying to watch live feeds. Una stood on the bridge of the Iron Mule, watching Earth grow larger in the window. The blue and green planet looked small from up here. Beautiful, but small. She now knew that the galaxy contained billions of worlds. Earth was just one of them, but it was home. "They're scared," Myra said, reading messages on her screen. "Governments are calling emergency meetings. Militaries are mobilizing. Some religious leaders are saying the end of the world has come. Can you blame them?" Doan asked. "A week ago, they thought humans were alone in the universe. Now they're finding out that aliens exist and they're here. They're not just scared," Yunji added. "Some of them are angry. They're saying we should have destroyed the aliens when we had the chance. They're calling us traitors." Yuna nodded. She had expected this. The knowledge inside her head included many examples of how species reacted to first contact. Fear and anger were common. Sometimes it led to war. Sometimes it led to progress. The choice would be humanity's to make. "We have to be careful," she said. "We can't force this on anyone. We have to let them choose." "Choose what?" Taiwu asked. "Whether to accept what the Veil are offering. Whether to take the next step. If we push too hard, they'll push back. We have to give them reasons to trust us." She had thought about this during the long journey home. The Veil had given her knowledge that could change everything. But knowledge without trust was dangerous. If she released everything at once, it would cause chaos. So she made a plan. The Iron Mule landed in an empty field in the countryside, far from any city. Yuna wanted to avoid crowds and cameras for as long as possible. She needed time to prepare. First, she wrote a message. A simple message that explained who the Veil were and why they had come. She included proof that could not be faked. Mathematical equations that humans had never solved. Descriptions of stars that human telescopes had never seen. Blueprints for technology that human engineers had never imagined. Then she sent the message to every government on Earth at the same time. No country got special treatment. No leader got early access. Everyone learned the truth together. The response was chaos. Some governments demanded meetings. Others demanded weapons. A few small countries offered peace and welcome. Most just panicked, but Yuna did not wait for them to calm down. Instead, she started sharing. She released cures for cancer. Not one cure, but 7, each working in different ways. She released treatments for heart disease, for diabetes, for conditions that had killed millions of people every year. She put all of this on the internet, free for anyone to use. Then she released energy technology, clean power that could run cities without pollution, engines that could travel between stars in days instead of years, batteries that never ran out. She released farming methods that could grow food in deserts, water purifiers that could make poison safe to drink, building materials stronger than steel but lighter than wood, all free, all available to everyone. The reaction was mixed. Many people were grateful. Hospitals immediately started testing the new cancer treatments. Scientists began studying the energy technology. Farmers downloaded the agricultural information. But others were suspicious. Why would anyone give such valuable things away? What was the catch? Some people said it was a trap. Some said it was the first step in an alien invasion. Yuna gave them time. She did not argue. She did not fight. She just kept sharing. 1 month passed. The cancer cures worked. Patients who had been dying were now healthy. The energy technology worked. Cities that had been burning coal were now running on clean power. Slowly, trust began to build. Not everywhere. Not for everyone. Some countries still refused to use anything from the Veil. Some people still protested in the streets, demanding that the aliens leave Earth forever. But most people were starting to understand. This was real. This was not a trick. The universe had given humanity an incredible gift. 6 months after arriving, Yuna gave her first public speech. Billions of people watched on their screens. "I know you're scared," she said. "I was scared too. When I first saw the Veil, I wanted to run. I wanted to pretend I had never found them. But I stayed, and I'm glad I did. The Veil are not gods. They're not monsters. They're just an old species that learned a lot over a long time. Now they're giving that knowledge to us. Not because they want something from us, but because they don't want their knowledge to die with them. We have a choice now. We can accept this gift and grow. We can become something bigger than we ever imagined. Or we can stay afraid. We can waste this chance and watch it disappear. I know which choice I'm making. I hope you'll make the same one." That night, Dohan found her standing alone on a hillside, looking up at the stars. "You did good," he said. The old crew of the Pale Horizon ran away. You stayed. That made all the difference. Yuna smiled. "I almost ran too. Every time something scared me, I wanted to turn around and leave. But you didn't." "No, I didn't." She looked at the stars. Somewhere out there, more Veil ships were waiting. More knowledge was sleeping in hidden rooms. The universe was full of secrets that humanity had never imagined, and now they had the chance to discover them all. "What made you stay?" Dohan asked. Yuna thought about the question. She thought about her whole life. Fixing broken machines. Solving impossible problems. Never giving up, no matter how hard things got. "Curiosity," she said finally. "Humans are curious. We always want to know what's on the other side of the door. That's our greatest strength. Other species have bigger brains or stronger bodies. But no one is more stubborn about finding answers than us. That's a very human thing to say." "Yeah," Yuna laughed. "I guess it is." Above them, the stars shone bright. The universe was waiting, and humanity was finally ready to explore it.